In this example, I want to take a look at what is required for a new machine to install DynamoDB locally. You'll notice that I have three tabs open in Chrome. So the first one is that I'm going to need a Java runtime environment. So I'm running from my Mac. I'm going to need the Mac version of that. So I will need Java. I will also need the AWS CLI. So the AWS CLI is a tool that I'll use to actually launch DynamoDB locally. So I will need this AWS CLI. And then lastly, there's a download for DynamoDB. So it's a zip package that we can use to download DynamoDB. So these are the three requirements that I'm going to have to actually run DynamoDB locally. So I'm going to go ahead and get started by downloading Java first. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. Okay, and I'm going to go through the install process of installing the Java runtime environment. And while this is installing, I'm going to go ahead and grab the AWS CLI. So I'm going to grab the Mac package installer. So I'll go ahead and save that. And I'm going to go ahead and install it. Okay, and that's installed successfully. And then lastly, I'm going to go ahead and download the AWS DynamoDB local. So I'm going to download this tarball. And I'm actually going to save that into, I'm going to create a development folder. And then inside the development folder, I'm going to create an AWS folder. And I'm going to go ahead and save it right there. And I can extract it. And all I end up with is this DynamoDB latest local. I don't need the tarball anymore. But you can see it's a Java file. So it ends in that .jar extension. So this is a Java file. I just want to see where the progress is on the Java install. It looks like Java 8 was successfully installed. So I think at this point I should be set to go, but you'll notice that after I download DynamoDB, I have to extract the contents and copy the extracted directory, so we've done that. To start DynamoDB on my local computer, I have to open a command prompt, navigate to the directory where I extracted it, and then enter the following command. Okay, so basically what I'm doing is I'm launching the Java virtual machine. So to launch this Java app. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this, and I want to navigate to that directory from my terminal. So I'm going to go to my documents, and then I had a development folder, and then AWS, and then we called it DynamoDB local latest. And in that directory we have our jar file, so we're in the right spot. And then I can paste that command that I just ran, and you'll notice that it seems to be running. Okay, so it initialized, it's running on port 8000. Basically what's going on here is DynamoDB is running locally now at this point, and it's set up sufficiently so that DynamoDB is running. In order to actually interact with DynamoDB, what's happening is it's running in the background on port 8000, so it's watching for incoming requests on port 8000. To interact with it, typically what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up another tab. So I open another tab in my terminal window, and then I can issue some DynamoDB commands. And just to kind of get started, you'll notice that before I can access DynamoDB programmatically or through the AWS CLI, I have to configure my credentials. The way I do that is I use the AWS configure command, and you'll notice it says you can use whatever credentials you want. So they're saying, yep, you can use a fake key and a fake access key. So essentially what they're saying is that I have to run this AWS configure command, which is part of the AWS CLI package. And it asks for an access key, fake access key. And it asks for a secret access key, so fake secret access key. What region? US East 2. And then the output format, I use JSON. So this is all configured now. And if I ran the same command again, you'll notice that it now has my fake access key, my fake secret access key. It's starred out, but those credentials are there. You'll see that the default region is US East 2 and the default output format is JSON. So I just hit enter through those and the configurations happened. Once I've configured that, then I should be able to list the DynamoDB tables that are running on my local machine. Now, keep in mind, I just set up DynamoDB. All we're doing with this command is we're listing the tables that are on my local machine, which should be no tables because it was just set up. And all I'm doing with this command is verifying that this command will actually work. List tables is one of the commands that corresponds to DynamoDB. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that command. I'm going to go back over to my terminal and I'm going to issue that command. And you'll notice that I do get a response back. It returns JSON. It says, here's all the tables that are on your local machine. It gives me an array, and that array is empty. That's what that command is saying. So at this point, we're up and running. The one thing I do want to point out is we have two tabs here. The first tab is a tab that is launched DynamoDB. The second tab is after DynamoDB is launched and running on my computer, then I can start to issue those commands. And I just want to show you, in case you run into this issue, if I do not have DynamoDB running, so I'm just at a terminal prompt, DynamoDB is not running in the background, this command that I try to issue will not work because DynamoDB is not running on port 8000. So you'll notice it can't connect because DynamoDB is not running in the background because I just stopped it from my terminal. Okay, if I start it back up, so it's running in the background, then I can go over to this other terminal prompt and issue that command and I'll see that there are no tables. So anytime I want to interact with DynamoDB locally, I have to have that instance running in the background in order for me to issue any commands for DynamoDB to actually work. Okay, so this video was meant to just kind of cover the requirements of setting up DynamoDB on your local system.